Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and today I want to talk about some recent issues that I've noticed in Rainbow Six Siege ever since the start of the new season. Now, for the most part, I've been having a lot of fun with this new content. The two new operators I think are a great addition. I like a lot of the changes that they've made to the game, but one in particular that I'm not entirely sold on just yet is the new camera perspective. The reason why Ubisoft changed where the camera is positioned in our character model is that they were trying to stop the amount of crouch and lean spam. You guys probably noticed last season that it was kind of becoming the meta. Everyone was wiggling around all over the place to make themselves a harder target. And so one way that Ubisoft was trying to resolve this issue was to move the position of the camera. I believe they did some other things like slow down the animation, and for the most part, it's been a really good change. Not having to go against people that are constantly spazzing out in front of your screen, I think has been a really nice change this season, but the camera perspective has, I think, some unintended consequences. One in particular is that a lot of times I won't even actually be able to see the other player and I'll get taken out simply out of nowhere. To give you a really good example of this, here I am in the middle of a hallway. I hear off in the distance that a window gets opened. I lean and peek in that direction. I don't see the window opened on up. I think I'm okay. And then out of nowhere, I get taken out. When I then watch his camera, he clearly sees me, and then he's able to somehow get a headshot. The camera itself is a little weird, and that's one thing that we'll get to here in a second, but I had no way of knowing that he actually had a line of sight against me because of this new camera perspective. This is something that I've been noticing more and more with this season. This is just simply one example. I'll kind of string a couple throughout today's video. Some people might just simply say that this is something that we need to get used to. Because it's different, we're now going to have to get used to our bodies not being exactly where we're kind of expecting them to be and act accordingly. And that's a pretty good argument. Maybe we just need to put a couple more months into the game, get really comfortable with this new camera perspective, and everything will work itself out in the end. But I would argue that it's not as simple as that. So one thing to illustrate this point is when I was on Border. Here I am, I'm in the middle of a hallway once again. I guess there's a theme with that. And then I notice off in the corner some movement, a really brief glimpse at someone's head off to my side. I, of course, get taken out. I assume that he had a really good shot off, but then when I watch his camera, he sees not only my entire head, but also part of my shoulder. I feel like this is a bit ridiculous. And while I realize there is always going to be some discrepancies, I understand that. But to only see a sliver of his head while on his end, he sees part of my shoulder and my entire head, that feels like it's a bit too much. Now, one thing that could be contributing to this, and this might be the entire problem, is the kill camera itself. One thing that Ubisoft has always been grappling with this last couple of years is to try to sync that camera with what actually happened in game. And so maybe that's what we're experiencing right now. I've noticed a lot of cameras when I watch them back seem a bit off, and so maybe that's what's going on here. I have a hard time believing this because there is such a large difference between what I experienced and what they saw, but it is a possibility and I did want to bring it up. All in all though, I'm kind of hoping that Ubisoft does look into this further because I believe that this is something that does need addressing. I really like what they're trying to do with the crouch and lean spam problem. I feel like that is going to be a great step in the right direction for Rainbow Six Siege, but I do think that it does need some more adjustments. Another issue I've been noticing more and more with this new season is some really odd hit registration and hitbox problems. It just doesn't seem like shots are registering. You line up a perfect headshot, or you assume that you do, you feel like it should have landed, but you don't get the takedown. Now, I get it. Everyone experiences this. They get frustrated when you get taken out. You assume you should have won because it looks like you lined up the headshot, but it just doesn't happen. And so everyone blames it on the netcode. And that might be part of the problem here. Maybe my aim is just bad. But to give you a really good example of this, I was watching Badger stream. Here he is crawling around on the ground. He notices a Mozzie out in the distance. He clearly lines up a perfect headshot, and then nothing happens. You can even see the surprise in his face, and I was just as surprised because that should have landed. This might be hit registration, this might be hitbox, but whatever it is, this is the thing I've been experiencing more and more this season, and I do think it's something that they might want to look into. Now, one thing that this could be is that simply his headshot hitbox is smaller than his helmet, and he hit the side of his helmet. I don't really necessarily believe that based off of what we saw there, but that is a distinct possibility. But if that is the case, I have to wonder, why hasn't Ubisoft implemented that system that they promised that they were going to do a really long time ago? I don't know if you guys remember this, but at one point, you could actually get a one-shot headshot if you hit the side of Jaeger and Blitz's earmuffs. This, of course, caused some issues. And so for the most part, it's been an amazing addition for them to normalize the headshot hitbox. Make it so that if you do hit their equipment, it doesn't do any damage. You actually have to hit their player model. But way back then, they also stated that they were going to add in a system that was going to notify you when you hit their equipment and you didn't actually hit their body. Ubisoft said they were going to add in an audible sound or a spark on the screen that let you have that kind of indication. So you could know as a player, oh, that's the reason why I didn't get a headshot. It's because I hit that giant earmuff and not actually their head. What happened to that system? It's been a really long time. I don't know if they ran into some problems. Maybe it wasn't high on their priority list. It just kept getting shifted further and further down on their priority. But I do feel like this would be a great addition. Giving players more information can't really be a bad thing. Having them know, oh, that's the reason why I didn't get the headshot, because there's a spark that flew across. Okay, let's move on. I don't need to be frustrated by that or blame the netcode. You would have that information at your fingertips. All in all, though, I guess what I'm trying to say is that this has been something that I have noticed this season, and it has caused some frustration. I'm not going to sit here and talk like I know how to solve it or what Ubisoft needs to do. It's just something that has kind of gotten under my skin, and hopefully this is something that they are going to be addressing in the future. But yeah, guys, that is what it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if this is something that you guys have been experiencing in Rainbow Six Siege lately. I wanted to make today's video not only to kind of express my frustrations, but also gauge if this is something that you guys have been dealing with as well. And so give me your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. But yeah, guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.